We are going to create our own little custom CSS file. So I'm going to right click on my CSS folder and I am going to select add new item. And I'm going to select web and I can see style sheet right here. And I'm going to call it custom. And then I'm going to pause while I key in the CSS. There's nothing on. And I've saved all of my changes. And now that I've got my custom CSS, I am going to create my Razer layout. And this should go under shared. So again, I'm adding a new item. And I'm going to kind of limit to web here. And I want a Razer layout. And I'm going to keep the default name and just click on add. And then we're also going to create a start page. We talked about that a little bit earlier. The start page is typically used to indicate that the views are going to use the layout. And that way you don't have to put that little chunk of code at the top of every single view. So in the views folder itself, we're going to add a new item. We'll expand this out and choose web. And this is Razer Views Start, and we're going to keep the default name. And the code that's in. So at this point, we have our layout page, we have our start. We do need to modify our index page now because this is not going to be a standalone page. We're actually going to have this go through the layout. So there is code in the book that we need to use to modify this. So we do not need layout equals null. We're going to use viewbag.title. And then we don't need all of those structural tags anymore. So let's get rid of those. We're going to keep our heading, keeping our form. And we're going to keep our buttons at the link at the bottom, and we're going to keep our closing form. And let's save our changes on that. Now to liven up our page a bit, because right now our pages are boring, we are going to add a graphic to our index page. So I'm going to have you download the graphic, but first we're going to create an images folder. So we're going to put the folder in www root, add new folder, and I'm using a capital I on images. And then you can actually download this money graphic right into that folder. So this is my old one. I'm going to kind of navigate now to the one I'm working on right now. And there's my images folder. It should just be named money.jpg. Okay, then what we are going to do is we're going to actually modify our layout a little bit. And this head section is what we are going to be adding to our layout. So it will be using Bootstrap, and it will be using the site CSS and our custom CSS. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll kind of move it out of the way. And where's my layout? Right here. Here's my head section. I'm going to paste right over the top, so it's pulling all of that in. Let me save that. Then I'm going to go to my index page, my boring page, soon to be not quite so boring. And we are going to add the image tag to the bottom. Now, in order for this to look good, we are going to want to use Bootstraps Columns. So we're going to add our image tag first. Now you'll notice this is kind of nice that it actually is displaying folders, so I don't have to keep typing. I can just simply select here, and we'll give an alt tag. And let's do a little inline style on this. We're going to round the corners. We'll set the width. Now the width we're setting to 100% because we are going to constrain it in a column. So it's not going to just be taking up the entire page. So this is going to display on the right, and we're going to make it about 4 columns wide. So we can set the class equal to call dash MD is medium dash 4. Okay, so we've set that about 4 columns wide. And where we want these columns to start is with the future value calculator title. So for the title, that can span the entire width. Okay, so we'll just put a little class in here and set that equal to call dash MD for medium dash 12. Okay, so now the title can take up a line all by itself, which is what we want. For the form, now I could make the form column 8, but I don't really want it that wide. So I'm going to end up with a little white space on the right-hand side, which is okay. I'm going to set the class for column, medium, and 6. It's about how wide I want that form to be. And at this point, I have the columns. So I've got basically 2 rows. The first one is going to take the whole width. The second one, first column is going to be about 6, and then the second one's going to be 4 with a little white space on the right. The only thing I still need to do is to tell Bootstrap that this is displayed in rows. So I'm going to use a div tag for this. Div is short for division. And I'm setting class equal to row. Then I'm going to take that closing and move it to the bottom. And save my changes. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and run my app. It's still not going to look terribly exciting, but at least it's more interesting than it was before. And you can see that even though I did set it to 100%, it is constrained by the width of the column. And you can also see that if I resize it, okay, it is responsive.